Well, today we're going to talk about one of the things that traveling full-time in our RV allows us to do, and that is to slow down and enjoy some of the small towns. So today we're going to be visiting Deer Lodge, Montana, right after the intro. We are Ricky and Denise. We sold everything in 2020 and hit the road to RV full-time. We travel in our Freightliner M2 truck, pulling our DRV JX 450 full house that hauls our 2020 Harley Tri-Glide. We invite you to travel along with us as we are soaring together. One of the things that I like about full-time RV life is being able to go into the small towns and just spend some time in some of the small towns. Small towns in our country have a lot to offer.
Absolutely. Just like I heard an announcer, I was trying to figure out if it was a rodeo or a football game, but it's football games, obviously Friday night.
Going on here where we are
but
now.
I was going to go to me a rodeo.
Not a rodeo, it's a football
Not a
game.
rodeo, but a football game.
But we did have the opportunity this summer to go to a small town, and we spent 2 weeks there. And this was Deer Lodge, Montana. While we were there at Deer Lodge, we stayed at Indian Creek Campground, and the campground is located just off of Interstate 90 between Butte, Montana and Missoula, Montana. Indian Creek Campground has over 60 pull-through sites with several that are big rig friendly. Restrooms, showers, laundry facilities. You can check their website in my description below for a full list of their amenities. Deer Lodge was named after a geological formation known as Warm Springs Mound, which contained saline that created a natural salt lick for the local deer population. Deer and other wildlife would winter in the protected valley, hence the name Deer Lodge. The population of Deer Lodge as of the 2020 census was 2,893. There in Deer Lodge, they have 5 museums, and also the Grant-Kohrs Ranch, historic ranch is there. So we were there long enough. I mean, we went over to the museums 2 or 3 times. In fact, when you purchase your ticket is good for all 5 museums.
For a year.
For a year.
Never heard of that before in my life.
For a whole year.
It's good for a year.
And we got the ticket, the adult price is $18. And because we're senior citizens, we got the tickets for $14.50 each. And like I said, it is good for a year. Not that we'll be back in that area, but it was good for us because we were going to be there for 2 weeks, and we could just pick a day when it was not raining.
Right, we didn't
when it was
have
a
to try
pretty
to do
day.
everything in one day.
Because some of the museum exhibits were outside, and so of the museums, there's 5 there in Deer Lodge. The old Montana Prison, the Montana Auto Museum, yesterday's Playthings, that's a toy museum, and then the Frontier Montana and the Cottonwood City exhibit was outside. But yeah, we went with Paul and Kanita, were there with us part of the time we were there. So we all went to the Prison Museum together and the Auto Museum. In an attempt to tame the Wild West, the old Montana Prison was established in Deer Lodge, Montana in 1871. We are here now at the old Montana Prison. This prison was built back in the 1800s. The first convict was received here at this prison July 2nd, 1871. In 1979, this prison was abandoned in favor of a new facility 5 miles west of Deer Lodge. Up on the wall there you can see a photo. This was April 1971. So you can see what the prison looked like at that time.
The door's working, everything, so don't go in there. Police will lock you up.
And this building is the so-called isolation cells. They were used to remove troublesome inmates from the rest of the prison population. So what's in here? More isolation cells. It's a little creepy to walk in there. A little creepy. Just a little creepy. Ooh. I'm getting out of here. This place is creepy. So to increase the overcrowded conditions, the 1912 cell house was constructed, adding 200 cells to the prison complex. Erected in only 11 months, using convict labor, the cell house was a model facility for its day. Each cell had running water, a flush toilet, and good ventilation. We took the self-guided tour, and the tour takes about 45 minutes to an hour to complete. One interesting fact about the old prison: on April 16, 1959, Jerry Miles and Lee Smart led 20 inmates in a riot which left Deputy Warden Ted Roth dead. Miles and Smart took 18 prison employees and 5 inmates as hostages, soaked rags with flammable liquid, and threatened to burn them alive. After 36 hours of mounting tension, Warden Floyd Powell implemented a daring rescue attempt. The National Guard fired the bazooka at the tower where the ringleaders were headquartered. Meanwhile, a team of men burst through the door in the West Hall, crossed the yard, and entered the cell house, freeing the hostages. Miles and Smart were found dead of an apparent murder-suicide at the top floor of the tower. Although the riot focused attention on the overcrowded conditions at the prison, it was 20 years before the last prisoners were finally moved to the new prison. Well, we definitely took a walk through time at the Montana Auto Museum. This museum is listed in USA Today as top 10 must-see car museum in the country. We viewed the transition from the carriage to the car and the effect that the car has on our lives today. We saw vehicles from the 1890s through the 1980s. It is the story of people and cars and how the car has been adapted to suit our needs and personalities.
you know, you go through history. You go through your life in these. You know, obviously they started way before my time, but you get into the, you know, even one thing to me was one of the kind of like the first RVs where they, you know, took a truck and, you know, put a camper or put a shell over the top of it.
And back here on the wall is the camper.
You know, up to the muscle cars. I mean, you know, sounds crazy, but you know, you can just hear them running. You know, so I used to love to go to the drag strip. But yeah, it's just, you know, a lot of people, you know, seeing kids going through there, just, you know, it was boring to them, but it was very interesting to me.
Here's my car, a 59 Dodge Cornet, the year I was born. There are so many cars in this museum. This is unreal. Now we're in the 58s. All these back here are 58s. We got 64s and 50s on this side. And on this side we got 50s. This is a 77 Plymouth Grand Prairie Highway Patrol car. 63 Ford Galaxy. Now we're in the 60s. 57 Ford Thunderbird. 65 Ford Falcon. 66 Ford Mustang. And a 69 Ford Mustang. There's the car right there. Now we're in the 60s, still in the 60s. 67 Chevy Camaro. 68 Camaro. Look at this one over here. We got a 69 Camaro, a 68 Camaro, a 70 Chevelle, check this Plymouth out. Got a trophy sitting there. Then we come up to the 70 Plymouth. Over here we have a 70 Pontiac. What is 67 Ford Mustang Fastback. Talk about a cool car in this day.
And you know, they had a lot more than the cars. They had a lot of history about them, which, you know, I've never been a historian by any means, but it was just a good deal. They had a lot of cars. You know, I was actually very surprised, especially in a town that, you know, bigger than Dearborn.
Well, yesterday's Playthings is just what it says. Yesterday's Playthings, a museum of toys. As we walked through, I reminisced of some of the older toys that I remember as a child. Frontier Montana Museum gave us a visual image of what it was like back in the frontier days. We also walked through the Cottonwood City Pioneer Town exhibit. They had replica buildings of the pioneer days. So they had the school and the church and a prison and a store, and just got a lot of neat pictures there. Oh, this is the school. There's the classroom. The old classroom, the old chalkboards. This must be where the teachers slept. This is the teacher's room. I guess I didn't realize the teacher lived in the schoolhouse, but I guess she did. Once the headquarters of a 10 million acre cattle empire, Grant-Kohrs Ranch National Historic Site preserves these symbols and commemorates the role of cattlemen in American history. Well, wide open spaces, the hard-working cowboy, his spirited cow pony, and vast herds of cattle are among the strongest symbols of the American West. Today we are at the Grant-Kohrs Ranch here in Deer Lodge, Montana. And today at the ranch they're going to be branding. So we're going to get a little sneak peek of that. We're going to take a tour at noon of the farmhouse. And right now we're just walking on the ranch. I don't know if you can see, I can't zoom in, but it's way back there. It's called a beaver slide hay stacker.
Yeah. Well, see, they put it on the bottom, and you know, back then they didn't have any way of stacking it like we do now. So it slid up and then dumped over in that. And it's loose. It's not bent or bent.
But it's all in a pile.
Yeah.
Way back over there, you can see the longhorns laying in the field. So Ricky said this is what they use the big horses for. There's their, yeah.
Big old Belgians. Fifth wheel wagon. Here is your first fifth wheel. I say why they call it a fifth wheel now. See underneath?
Yep.
It rotates. Or just a straight tongue, you have to go way out and come back.
It's got a round wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's like a fifth wheel.
That's the fifth wheel.
Yeah. So it rotates, so it makes a lot shorter turns. Wow. And we're still using some of the same designs today, just a little bit.
Yeah. So what you're looking at here is a ranch house. Front part here was built in 1862, and if you've been around the ranch area here, you'll notice a back part which is brick, which was built in 1890. Okay, and it represents really two of the families that were very instrumental in this particular ranch. First one was from a man named Johnny Grant, who was a French-Canadian fur trapper and trader. Okay. And then the second one is Grant-Kohrs, who was a German immigrant, left Germany at 15, sailed the oceans and came here. So if you've ever wanted to know where we got the name of Grant-Kohrs, those are the two people.
If you're ever in this area of Montana, stop by and maybe you'll get to go inside the big house. Sorry that we couldn't take you inside, but we totally understand their reasons. But it was absolutely stunning in there. The furniture, the woodwork, everything was just amazing inside that home. So like I said, if you're ever in this area of Montana, Deer Lodge, stop by, take a tour of this Grant-Kohrs farm.
Did the one in the government's hands? I heard him say, but what's it, one of the grandkids? Or?
Yeah, so the grandson, Con Warren, he had taken over the ranch after his grandfather had died, okay. And he's the one who sold it to the Park Service in 1972. So, Yeah.
Well, we certainly enjoyed our visit to the Grant-Kohrs Ranch. The day we went, they were branding the calves.
Yeah, I was kind of excited. We got there the right time to see them bringing them off the hill and bringing them in, and how they cut them and out, separated the calves from the cows, and then they got them all up, rounded them up, and then the cowboys lassoed their back feet, kind of drug them out, and then they branded them. And been around cows all my life, but we never branded any and didn't have any reason. And a lot of people think it's cruel and inhumane, but we did talk to some folks there, and you know, with so many cattle, if in free range, you know, if they didn't brand them, they wouldn't know whose they were. That was very interesting. You know, I've seen it on old westerns and been around cows all my life, but at home nobody brands that I know of. I've never seen anybody brand one. One fascinating part, and I'll just say this and I'll get out of it, was there was a group of kids there, and they got to draw out of the hat, and one little boy got to go out and actually help them brand. And you know, that's, in my opinion, something he won't ever forget. So very neat place.
Yeah, I was born in Kentucky. I was born in Princeton.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These really red calves right here,
Those are Hereford.
well, the really red solid ones, they're what's known as an English shorthorn.
Okay.
This little guy with a splotched
on
back,
him.
he's a longhorn mama. I've got two shorthorn bulls, and I've got a purebred Hereford bull.
Okay.
And they're the daddies of all these guys right here. This little black one right here, his mama is a longhorn. She's what we call a cookie and cream calf out there.
Okay.
Or cookie and cream cow out there.
Free admission. Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, it makes it even better, free admission. But it was a neat place, and there again, a lot of history, you know, in how these ranchers got it started and how they continued to grow and build a business. It's just, you know, when I sit and listen to the stories, it's really kind of amazing how, you know, some of them really started with nothing and became, you know, it's not necessarily about the wealth, but about became entrepreneurs and made a difference in the country because, you know, of the livestock.
Well, we certainly hope that you've enjoyed today's video of our tour of Deer Lodge, Montana. And don't forget, like and subscribe so you won't miss Ricky and I as we are soaring along on our journey.